Captain Jake Morrison stood on the bridge of the UES Defiance, watching the stars shift and blur outside the massive viewing window. The hyperspace jump was almost complete. After 15 years of secret construction, humanity's first true war, ship was about to enter alien space for the first time. "Jump complete, Captain," called out Lieutenant Amy Foster from her position at the tactical station. Her fingers moved quickly across the control panel as she scanned the area around them. "We are now at the edge of Vorthak territory." Jake nodded and walked to the center of the bridge. The Defiance was huge, over 2 miles long and packed with the most advanced weapons Earth had ever built. Hidden shipyards in the asteroid belt had worked day and night to finish her. Most people on Earth did not even know she existed. "Any signs of alien ships?" Jake asked. Amy checked her screens again. "Not yet, but I am picking up some strange signals. They look like monitoring stations." Commander Ryan Blake entered the bridge, his heavy boots making loud sounds on the metal floor. Ryan was in charge of the ship's Marines, 3,000 of the best soldiers Earth had to offer. He had fought in the resource wars back home and knew how to handle a fight. "Captain, my men are ready," Ryan said. "If those crystal aliens want trouble, we will give it to them." Jake smiled but felt worried inside. Earth had been cut off from the rest of the galaxy for so long. Ancient alien races had put invisible barriers around their solar system, keeping humans trapped like animals in a cage. But Earth's scientists had finally broken through. The question was what would happen next. Dr. Karen Wells hurried onto the bridge, carrying a tablet full of data. She was the ship's expert on alien life forms, though she had never actually met one. Everything she knew came from studying crashed alien ships that had been found on Earth over the years. "Captain, I have been studying the radio signals we are receiving," Karen said. "The aliens are definitely talking about us. I think they are surprised we made it this far." "Can you understand what they are saying?" Jake asked. "Some of it. They keep using words that mean impossible and danger. I think we scared them." Amy suddenly sat up straight at her station. "Captain, I have multiple contacts approaching fast. Looks like 6 ships, possibly more behind them." Jake felt his heart start beating faster. This was it. First contact with an alien race. Everything that happened in the next few minutes would decide the future of humanity. "All hands, this is the captain," Jake said into the ship's communication system. "We are about to meet our first aliens. Everyone stay calm and do your jobs. We trained for this." On the main screen, the alien ships became visible. They looked like giant crystals flying through space, beautiful but deadly. Each ship was about half the size of the Defiance, but they moved with grace and speed. "They are trying to communicate with us," Amy reported. "I am putting it on speakers." Strange musical sounds filled the bridge. The alien language sounded like wind chimes mixed with electronic tones. After a few seconds, the ship's computer began trying to translate. "Unknown vessel," the computer said in a robotic voice. "You have entered restricted space. Your species is not permitted to leave your home system. Turn back now or face destruction." Jake looked at his crew. Amy had her hand ready over the weapon controls. Ryan was already calling his Marines to battle stations. Karen was recording everything on her tablet. "Open a channel," Jake ordered. "Channel open, Captain." Jake took a deep breath. "This is Captain Jake Morrison of the Earthship Defiance. We come in peace, but we will defend ourselves if attacked. Humanity will no longer be prisoners in our own solar system." The alien response came quickly. "Impossible. Your species does not possess the technology for interstellar travel. Identify your true origins." "We are from Earth," Jake said firmly. "And we built this ship ourselves." There was a long silence. Then the alien ships began moving into attack positions around the Defiance. "Captain," Amy said quietly, "they are charging their weapons." Jake made the hardest decision of his life. "Battle stations. All hands. Prepare for combat." Red lights flashed throughout the ship as the crew rushed to their positions. In the Marine sections, Ryan's soldiers grabbed their weapons and armor. In engineering, Grace Murphy and her team pushed the fusion reactors to full power. "Alien ships are firing," Amy announced. Bright beams of energy struck the Defiance's shields. The ship shook. but the new quantum-enhanced armor held strong. The aliens seemed surprised that their weapons did so little damage. "Return fire," Jake ordered. "Show them what humans can do." The Defiance's railguns opened fire. Solid metal slugs shot out at incredible speed, moving so fast they were almost impossible to see. The first shots hit 2 alien ships dead center. The crystal hulls of the alien vessels shattered like glass. Pieces of broken ship floated through space as the other aliens watched in shock. 2 enemy ships destroyed, Amy reported. The others are backing away. Jake felt no joy in the victory. He knew this was just the beginning. Word would spread throughout the galaxy that humans had arrived, and they were not the helpless primitives the aliens expected. "Send a message to Earth," Jake told Amy. "Tell Admiral Parker that first contact has been made. Tell her the aliens know we are here now." As the remaining alien ships retreated, Jake looked out at the stars. Somewhere out there were billions of alien creatures who had kept humanity trapped for centuries. They thought humans were weak and stupid. They were about to learn how wrong they had been. Admiral Lisa Parker sat in her command center deep under the Rocky Mountains. The quantum communication link with the Defiance crackled with static, but Jake's voice came through clearly enough. "Admiral, the aliens are sending more ships," Jake reported. "My scanners show at least 20 vessels approaching our position." Lisa felt her stomach tighten. She had sent the Defiance out knowing it might be a suicide mission. Humanity needed to know what was waiting for them among the stars, but she had hoped for a peaceful first contact. "Captain, you have permission to defend yourself by any means necessary," Lisa said, "but try to capture prisoners if possible. We need to learn about their technology." "Understood, Admiral. Morrison out." Lisa turned to her staff officers. Earth's military leaders had been preparing for this moment for years, but no one really knew what to expect. The crashed alien ships they had studied were old and damaged. This would be their first look at working alien technology. Back on the Defiance, Jake watched the new alien fleet approach. These ships were different from the first group. They were larger and had more weapons. Clearly, the aliens were taking the human threat seriously now. "Captain," Amy called out from her station, "I am detecting 3 different ship types, the crystal ships we fought before, plus some new ones that look like they are made of metal and energy." Dr. Karen Wells looked up from her computer. "Those must be ships from the other alien empires, the Zephyrian Collective and the Luminar Dominion. They are working together against us." Jake nodded. Earth spies had learned the names of the 3 major alien powers from studying old transmissions. The Vorthak, Zephyrian, and Luminar had ruled the galaxy for thousands of years. Now they saw humanity as a threat to their control. "Sir," Amy reported, "the lead ship is trying to communicate." "Put it through." A new voice came over the speakers. This one sounded different from the crystal aliens. It buzzed and clicked like an insect. "Human vessel," the voice said. "This is Commander Zik of the Zephyrian fleet. You will surrender immediately or be destroyed. Your species has violated ancient laws by leaving your home system." Jake looked at his crew. They all knew what this meant. The aliens had been keeping humanity trapped on purpose. Earth was nothing more than a prison planet to them. "Commander Zik," Jake replied, "humanity rejects your authority. We will not be caged like animals any longer." The alien response was swift. Energy beams and plasma bolts filled the space around the Defiance. The human ship's shields flared bright as they absorbed the massive attack. "Shields holding at 80%, Amy reported, "but we cannot take much more of this." Jake made a quick decision. "Launch all fighters. Tell Ryan to prepare boarding parties. We are going to capture one of their ships." Colonel Ben Hayes led the Defiance's fighter squadron into space. His small ships were fast and hard to hit. They dove between the alien vessels, firing missiles and cannon rounds at weak points in the enemy hulls. "This is Ben to all fighters," he called over the radio. "Focus on the smaller ships first. Make them think twice about ganging up on us." The human fighters moved like angry wasps around the alien fleet. Their weapons were designed to punch through armor, and they found weak spots the aliens did not even know they had. Meanwhile, Sergeant Paul Carter and his Marines prepared for the most dangerous part of the mission. They were going to board an alien ship while it was still fighting. "Listen up," Paul told his men. "We need prisoners and we need their computer systems intact. Try not to blow up anything important." The Defiance moved closer to a damaged Zephyrian ship. Its shields were down and its weapons were offline. Jake ordered the ship's cutting beams to open a hole in the alien hull. "Go, go, go," Paul shouted as his Marines jumped through the breach. Inside the alien ship, Paul's team found themselves in a nightmare. The corridors were filled with a thick, sweet-smelling gas. Strange organic walls pulsed like they were alive. Worst of, all the aliens themselves looked like giant insects with multiple arms and glowing eyes. "Do not breathe the air," Paul ordered through his helmet radio. "These things might be trying to drug us." The Marines fought their way through the ship, using their advanced weapons to stun the insect-like aliens instead of killing them. They needed prisoners for Dr. Wells to study. Back on the Defiance, Engineer Grace Murphy was working miracles in the engine room. The alien attacks were pushing their systems to the limit, but she found ways to squeeze more power from the reactors. "Come on, you beautiful machine," Grace muttered as she rerouted power cables. "Show these aliens what human engineering can do." The battle raged for 2 hours. When it was over, 5 alien ships were destroyed or disabled. The rest retreated, but Jake knew they would be back with more ships. Paul's Marines returned with 12 alien prisoners and several pieces of their technology. Dr. Wells immediately began trying to communicate with them. The first breakthrough came when she realized the insect aliens used chemical signals along with their spoken language. Using the ship's computer, she created a basic translation program. "Captain," Karen said excitedly, "I can talk to them now, and what they are telling me is incredible." Jake hurried to the medical bay where the alien prisoners were being held. One of them, apparently an officer, was making clicking sounds at Karen. "What is it saying?" Jake asked. "It says there are hundreds of other species like us," Karen replied. "Young races that the 3 empires have locked away on their home planets. They have been doing this for thousands of years." Jake felt anger building inside him. "They are keeping entire civilizations as prisoners?" "Not just prisoners," Karen said. "Slaves. This officer says they harvest resources and soldiers from the trapped species. Earth was supposed to be next." The alien officer made more clicking sounds. Karen listened carefully and translated. "It says the empires are afraid," she said. "No trapped species has ever broken free before. They do not know how to fight a war anymore. They have been bullies for so long, they forgot how to deal with someone who fights back." Jake smiled grimly. The aliens had made a big mistake. They had underestimated humanity's greatest strength, the refusal to give up when faced with impossible odds. "Send a message to Admiral Parker," Jake ordered. "Tell her we have learned something important. We are not alone in this fight." News of humanity's victory spread across the galaxy faster than anyone expected. On distant worlds, alien races that had been slaves for thousands of years began to whisper about the humans who had broken free. Captain Jake Morrison stood in the Defiance's meeting room, looking at a holographic map of the galaxy. Red dots showed Empire territories. Yellow dots marked the locations of trapped species. There were hundreds of them. "We have received 17 messages in the past day, Dr. Karen Wells reported. All from different species asking for our help. They want to know how we escaped." Commander Alex Turner, the ship's diplomatic officer, nodded as he read the translated messages. "Captain, some of these races have technologies we could really use. The Krillians can change their shape to look like anything. The Nexari have computers that think faster than ours." Jake studied the map carefully. "What about the Nexari? How far are they from our position?" 3 days at maximum speed," Amy Foster answered from her station. "But Captain, our fuel cells are running low. We need to find supplies soon." Jake made his decision. "Set course for the Nexari system. If we are going to fight the empires, we need allies." Meanwhile, on the crystal homeworld of the Vorthak, panic filled the ruling chambers. Emperor Vaxis floated in his crystal throne, his body glowing with angry light. "How did primitive humans destroy our ships?" he demanded. "Our Technology is thousands of years more advanced than theirs. General Krex, his military commander, projected images of the battle. My lord, their weapons work differently than ours. They use solid projectiles instead of energy beams. Our shields were not designed to stop such attacks. Then adapt our shields, the Emperor ordered. We are trying, my lord, but it will take time. The humans also fight in ways we do not understand. They are unpredictable. Emperor Vaxis grew brighter with rage. Contact the other empires. Tell them we must work together to stop these humans before they inspire more rebellions. 3 days later, the Defiance arrived at the edge of the Nexari system. What they found surprised everyone. The planet was surrounded by a massive energy field that blocked all signals going in or out. It is a prison barrier, Karen explained. The same type that was around Earth, but much stronger. Jake frowned. Can we break through it? Engineer Grace Murphy ran calculations on her computer. Maybe, but it would use up most of our remaining power. We would be helpless if the empires attack us here. Captain, Amy called out. I am detecting ships approaching. Lots of them. The main screen showed a huge combined fleet of Empire vessels, crystal ships from the Vorthak, insect ships from the Zephyrians, and glowing energy ships from the Luminar. There had to be over 1,000 ships. They found us, Jake said grimly. All hands, battle stations. But before the empires could attack, something unexpected happened. The prison barrier around the Nexari planet began to flicker and fail. Captain, Karen said in amazement, the Nexari are breaking out on their own. Our arrival gave them hope to try again. Thousands of small ships poured out of the planet's atmosphere. They were beautiful vessels that seemed to be made of liquid metal. The Nexari had been waiting for this moment for a very long time. The Empire fleet hesitated. They had come to fight one human ship, not face a massive breakout of prisoners. Jake opened communications to the Nexari ships. This is Captain Morrison of Earth. We came to offer our help. A calm voice answered. Captain Morrison, I am Commander Zara of the Nexari fleet. We have been monitoring your progress. Your courage has inspired our people to risk everything for freedom. Can your ships fight? Jake asked. We have been preparing for this day for centuries, Zara replied. Our ships may look small, but we have some surprises for our former masters. The battle that followed became known as the Nexari Stand. 1,000 Empire ships faced off against the single human Dreadnought and 3,000 Nexari vessels. The Empire forces attacked first, sending waves of energy weapons toward both human and Nexari ships. But the Nexari had learned from watching the Defiance's earlier battles. Their liquid metal hulls flowed and changed shape, making the Empire weapons miss their targets. Jake ordered his fighters launched. Colonel Ben Hayes led his squadrons in a desperate charge against the much larger enemy fleet. The human pilots used hit-and-run tactics, striking fast and then disappearing behind the Nexari ships. Stay close to our new friends, Ben called, to his pilots. Their ships can protect us if we work together. The Nexari ships moved like schools of fish through space. When Empire ships tried to target them, they would split apart and reform somewhere else. It was like trying to fight liquid mercury. Commander Ryan Blake prepared his Marines for boarding actions. But this time, they had help. Some of the Nexari could change their shape to look like Empire soldiers. This is going to be interesting, Ryan told his men as they watched Nexari warriors transform into perfect copies of Vorthak crystal beings. The tide of battle began to turn when Grace Murphy made a crucial discovery. The Empire ships all use the same type of shields because the three empires shared technology to maintain control. Captain, Grace called from engineering, if we can disrupt their shield frequency, all their ships will be vulnerable at the same time. Do it, Jake ordered. Grace overloaded the Defiance's main reactor and sent out a massive electromagnetic pulse. For just a few seconds, every Empire ship in the battle lost its shields. The Nexari were ready. Their liquid metal ships formed into giant spears and rammed through the unprotected Empire hulls. In minutes, hundreds of Empire vessels were destroyed or disabled. The surviving Empire ships retreated in chaos. They had never faced an enemy that could adapt and change tactics so quickly. As the battle ended, Jake found himself looking at something incredible. Ships from other freed species were arriving to help. Word had spread that the rebellion was real, Captain, Zara said over the communications link. Other worlds are breaking free. The Krillians have escaped their prison. The Valdris are fighting back. Your actions have started something that cannot be stopped. Jake felt both proud and worried. They had won this battle, but the empires would not give up easily. The real war was just beginning. Commander Zara, Jake said, we need to work together. If we are going to win this fight, can your people help us contact the other freed species? Already done, Captain. We are forming what we call the Free Species Coalition. Every race that breaks free will join us. As more ships arrived from newly liberated worlds, Jake realized that humanity had done something amazing. They had not just escaped their prison. They had shown the entire galaxy that freedom was possible. The age of the empires was ending. The age of freedom had begun. The Free Species Coalition had grown beyond anyone's wildest dreams. In just 2 weeks, over 60 different alien races had broken free from their prison worlds and joined the rebellion. The galaxy was burning with the fires of revolution. Captain 2, Jake Morrison, stood on the bridge of the Defiance watching reports come in from across the galaxy. Each freed world brought new hope, but also new challenges. Captain, Dr. Karen Wells said as she entered the bridge, I have disturbing news. From the Luminar territories, Major Kate Thompson's spy mission has discovered something terrible. Jake turned to face her. Kate was one of their best intelligence officers, capable of infiltrating enemy territory without being detected. What did she find? Jake asked. The Luminar are not what we thought they were. They are not just energy beings who rule over biological species. They are parasites. They have been feeding off the life force of their slaves for thousands of years. Jake felt sick to his stomach. How many people are we talking about? Billions, Karen replied quietly. Entire civilizations reduced to living batteries. And Captain, if we do not stop them soon, they will drain every last person dry. The communication system crackled to life. It was Major Kate Thompson calling from deep inside Luminar space. Captain, this is Kate. I am transmitting data about the Luminar feeding stations. You need to see this. The main screen filled with horrible images. Massive structures in space held millions of alien beings connected to energy-draining machines. The victims were barely alive, their life force slowly being consumed. My God, whispered Commander Alex Turner. We have to save them. Jake made a decision that would change everything. All ships, this is Captain Morrison. We are changing our strategy. Our mission is no longer just about winning this war. We are going to save every single person the empires have enslaved. But as the coalition prepared for rescue missions, the empires were planning their own desperate move. On the crystal homeworld of the Vorthak, Emperor Vaxis met with his allies through holographic projection. The rebellion spreads too fast, said Queen Zithara of the Zephyrians. Soon we will have no slave worlds left. Then we use the Omega Protocol, Emperor Vaxis declared. The ancient weapon our ancestors built to destroy entire star systems. Supreme Entity Luxon of the Luminar flickered with concern. That weapon has been sealed away for good reason. It could destroy us all. Better to rule over empty space than lose everything to these primitives, the Emperor replied. Meanwhile, the coalition forces were preparing for their most dangerous mission yet. The plan was to attack all 3 Empire homeworlds at the same time, while rescue ships freed the slaves. From the feeding stations, Commander Ryan Blake briefed his Marines on their mission. They would be leading the ground assault on the Vorthak homeworld while the Navy dealt with the space defenses. Listen up, people, Ryan said. The crystal aliens have activated some kind of superweapon. Our job is to get inside their main city and shut it down before it can fire. Sergeant Paul Carter raised his hand. What exactly does this weapon do, sir? It destroys entire solar systems, Ryan replied grimly. If they get it working, they could wipe out Earth and every freed world in the galaxy. The attack began at dawn across 3 different star systems. The Defiance led the assault on the Vorthak homeworld, while coalition ships struck at Zephyrian and Luminar territories. The crystal planet was protected by thousands of defensive satellites and energy shields. But the Coalition had learned much about Empire technology during their previous battles. All fighters follow Ben's lead, Jake ordered. Colonel Ben Hayes guided his squadrons through the defensive fire, using new tactics developed by studying captured Empire ships. The Nexari ships flowed like liquid around the crystal defenses, while Krillian shapeshifters infiltrated the enemy stations by disguising themselves as Empire soldiers. But the real challenge came when Ryan's Marines had to fight their way through the crystal city itself. The buildings were made of living crystal that could reshape itself to block their path. Use the sonic charges, Ryan ordered. The Marines had discovered that certain sound frequencies could shatter the crystal structures. Paul led a team through the broken crystal corridors, fighting against Vorthak warriors who could shoot energy beams from their crystal bodies. The human weapons were effective, but the aliens had the advantage of fighting on their home ground. Deep in the crystal city, they found the control room for the ancient weapon. It was a massive chamber filled with glowing crystals that hummed with deadly energy. There, Paul pointed to a central crystal formation. That must be the control system. But as they approached, Emperor Vaxis himself appeared. The alien ruler was enormous, his crystal body blazing with light and power. "Primitive humans," the Emperor said, his voice echoing through the chamber. "You have destroyed our perfect order. Now you will watch as we destroy everything you care about." The Emperor raised his crystal arms and the weapon began to charge. Energy built up in the crystals around the chamber, preparing to unleash destruction. Across the galaxy, Ryan knew they had only seconds to act. "Paul, take your team and plant the charges. I will handle the Emperor." The battle between Ryan and the Crystal Emperor was fierce. Energy beams shot across the chamber as Ryan dodged between the crystal formations. His human weapons seemed too small against such a massive opponent. But humans had one advantage the ancient empires had forgotten. They could adapt and improvise in ways the rigid alien minds could not understand. Ryan noticed that the Emperor's energy came from the crystals around the chamber. If he could disrupt the connection, the alien ruler would be powerless. Using his remaining sonic charges, Ryan began destroying the crystals that fed power to the Emperor. Each explosion made the alien ruler weaker and smaller. "Impossible," the Emperor gasped as his crystal body began to crack. "We are the masters of this galaxy. We have ruled for thousands of years." "Your time is over," Ryan said as he placed the final charge on the weapon's control system. The explosion that followed could be seen from space. The ancient weapon was destroyed, along with the crystal city that housed it. Similar victories occurred on the other Empire homeworlds. The Cephirian hive mind was broken by human virus programs, freeing millions of enslaved insects. The Luminar feeding stations were destroyed, releasing billions of drained victims. As the Coalition forces regrouped, Jake received reports from across the galaxy. The three ancient empires were finished. Their fleets were scattered, their leaders dead or captured, and their slave worlds were free. But the hardest work was still ahead. Billions of freed beings needed help, food, and medical care. Entire civilizations had to be rebuilt from nothing. "Captain," Commander Zara of the Nexari said over the communication link, "What do we do now? The empires are gone, but the galaxy is in chaos." Jake looked out at the stars and thought about Earth so far away. He thought about Admiral Parker and the people who had believed in this mission. "Now we build something better," Jake said. "Something based on freedom instead of slavery. It will not be easy, but it will be worth it." The age of empires was truly over. The real work of building a free galaxy was just beginning. 6 months had passed since the fall of the ancient empires. The galaxy was a very different place now. Where once there had been prison worlds and slave colonies, free civilizations were growing and learning to work together. Admiral Lisa Parker stood on the bridge of the newest ship in Earth's fleet, the UES Morrison, named after the brave captain who had sacrificed everything to stop the Empire superweapon. It was even larger and more advanced than the original Defiance. "Admiral," called Captain Susan Brooks, the Morrison's commanding officer. "We are approaching the former Vorthak homeworld. The reconstruction fleet is waiting for us. Lisa nodded as she looked at the main screen. The crystal planet that had once been the center of a galactic empire was now the headquarters of something completely new. The Free Galaxy Alliance was building its capital here, on the ruins of tyranny. The planet's surface was busy with activity. Ships from dozens of different species worked together to build new cities. Human construction crews worked alongside, Nexari engineers and Krillian shapeshifters. It was a sight that would have been impossible just a year ago. "Take us down to the main landing site," Lisa ordered. As the Morrison descended through the atmosphere, Lisa thought about everything that had happened since Jake Morrison and his crew had first jumped into alien space. The boy from Earth who had dreamed of exploring the stars had become a hero to billions of beings across the galaxy. The landing site was filled with representatives from over 200 different species. Some looked almost human, while others were so strange that Lisa could barely understand how they lived and breathed. But they all had one thing in common now. They were free. Commander Alex Turner, now promoted to ambassador for the Earth delegation, met Lisa as she stepped off the ship. Behind him stood Dr. Karen Wells, who had become the galaxy's leading expert on interspecies communication. "Admiral," Alex said with a smile, "welcome to New Harmony. That is what they are calling the capital city." Lisa looked around at the construction work happening everywhere. "How many species have joined the Alliance so far?" 243 as of this morning, Karen replied. "More are asking to join every day. The Valdris finished building the new council chambers last week. You should see them, Admiral. They are beautiful." They walked through the busy streets of the new city. Lisa saw children from different species playing together, something that would never have been allowed under the old Empire system. Human teachers were working with alien educators to share knowledge and ideas. "What about the former Empire territories?" Lisa asked. "Are there still problems?" Alex's expression became more serious. "Some resistance groups are still active. A few Vorthak crystals refuse to accept that their empire is gone. The Zephyrians have split into several different hive minds that do not always get along. But most of the former Empire citizens are adapting well to freedom." They reached the main council building, a massive structure that combined architectural styles from dozens of different worlds. Inside, representatives from across the galaxy were debating important issues like trade routes, defense agreements, and resource sharing. "The biggest challenge," Karen explained, "is that many species do not know how to govern themselves. They were slaves for so long that they forgot how to make their own decisions." Lisa watched as a human diplomat helped a group of former slave species write their first constitution. It reminded her of Earth's own history, when her ancestors had fought for freedom and learned to build a democracy. "What about Earth?" Lisa asked. "How are people back home handling all of this?" "They are proud," Alex replied. "Humanity went from being prisoners in their own solar system to being the founders of galactic freedom. But more importantly, Earth has become a center for learning. Alien refugees come there to study human concepts like individual rights and democratic government." They were interrupted by an announcement over the building's communication system. "Admiral Parker, please report to the memorial chamber." Lisa followed Alex and Karen to a special room at the heart of the building. The walls were covered with the names of everyone who had died fighting for freedom. At the center was a holographic display, showing the final moments of the UES defiance. "We wanted you to see this," Karen said softly. "Jake's sacrifice saved, not just our mission, but billions of lives across the galaxy." Lisa watched the recording of Jake Morrison's final act. Rather than let the Empire's superweapon destroy entire star systems, he had crashed his ship into it, giving his life to save others. It was the kind of heroic action that had made humanity legends across the galaxy. "He would be proud to see what we have built," Lisa said quietly. A new voice spoke from behind them. "I think he would be amazed." Lisa turned to see Commander Ryan, Blake approaching. The tough Marine had survived the assault on the Crystal City and was now helping to train security forces for the new alliance. "Ryan," Lisa said with genuine warmth, "how are the peacekeeping efforts going?" "Better than expected," Ryan replied. "It turns out that most species just wanted to be left alone to live their own lives. Once we removed the empires that were oppressing them, most conflicts stopped on their own. They were joined by other familiar faces. Colonel Ben Hayes had become the Alliance's top fighter pilot instructor. Engineer Grace Murphy was leading projects to share human technology with other species. Sergeant Paul Carter was training the galaxy's first multi-species special forces unit. "Admiral," Grace said excitedly, "you have to see what we have been working on. We are building ships that combine the best technology from every species in the Alliance. The new designs are incredible." As they walked through the memorial chamber, Lisa noticed something that filled her with hope. Children from dozens of different worlds were learning together about the history of their galaxy. They were being taught about the dark days of the empires, but also about the heroes who had fought for freedom. "This is what makes it all worthwhile," Dr. Wells said, watching the children. "These young ones will grow up in a galaxy where slavery and oppression are just stories from the past." The day ended with a ceremony to welcome 3 new species into the Alliance. Lisa watched as former enemies shook hands and tentacles and crystal appendages, promising to work together for the good of all. As night fell over the new capital, Lisa stood on a balcony overlooking the city. Ships from hundreds of different worlds filled the sky, coming and going in peaceful trade and diplomacy. "You did it, Jake," she whispered to the stars. "You really did it." Somewhere out there, Earth's blue sky was shining down on a world that was no longer alone in the universe. Humanity had found its place among the stars, not as conquerors, but as the species that had shown the galaxy what freedom could look like. The age of empires was over. The age of the Free Galaxy Alliance had begun, and for the first time in thousands of years, the galaxy was truly at peace.